So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run through the lecture for today, and then after that I'll give you 2 hours. And you pretend it's like macam your practical test. Then you try to do the 2 lab. Okay, try as fast as possible not to look at the solution. Let's see how much you can do. Right, then your completion rate will give you a good guide. If you are able to do it comfortably, then week number 8 you should be very confident as far as this portion. Then the other component is the tutorial this week, which is on geography. I saw not a lot of people have done it, so maybe if you want, you can use a chance to also.
Okay.
I don't know whether you know. Okay, so far only these few people have done it. Xia 8915 830 MCQ question. Okay, just try. Okay, this is on your chapters on your security network and your AAA. Right. Now, don't take this lightly because on the last week, okay, when you have your practical test will have 2 components. Okay, the theory component and also the practical component. The theory typically based on last semester. I've not seen it yet. Last semester is MCQ plus short answer question and stuff. And open-ended question. Then half of the time will be not really half. 30% of the time will cater for theory. Then the rest of the time, all of you will be doing the practical. Okay? Okay? So let me just. And let me. Let's see. Okay. Now, as promised, we'll start at 6:45 and then we'll end on time as well. Right? Okay, so this is what we have gone through on Friday. I'm glad that the majority of you have attended the class. I think it's useful on how we basically talk about security network. Okay, there are a couple of things that we mentioned in the lecture itself. Okay, one, using the concept of syslog. Okay, when you want to basically push your network devices to send syslog events to a particular server, then you need to set your syslog. Together with syslog, you have to set your NTP because clock is important. And then last but not least, how to do remote connection by not doing telnet, which is not safe, but you want to use your SSH for your port 22. Then where you basically set your 3 major components, like your host name, domain name, plus your RSA key. Then you use it to hash your password, and then you send it out. Alright, so 2B. We have briefly talked about this component, but I just want to highlight a few things. Then after that, we can make use of it to do your lab. So, okay, so what is AAA? AAA stands for Authentication, Authorization, and Accounting. And basically, in short, in protecting the network devices, like for example, router or switch, you have to basically take care of the main thing is your login credentials. Okay, for example, your physical security component, your device OS hardening, your router setup access. Okay, all this has to be protected. All right. So authentication is the easiest to understand, which basically involve the login credential, who you are. Are you the legitimate user to basically gain access to the network device? Authorization literally means to what level are you authorized to do certain piece of job. Okay, for example, maybe we say a set privilege level 15 versus set privilege level 2. What's the difference? Right, accounting. Now, what do you spend on? I think this word is actually very generic. It can be talking about cost. Okay, it can also be talking about how do you account for the correct person to have gain access, especially when you want to control your own internal stuff. All right, now let's go back to our basic, the easiest of easiest. Where we talk about storing your login credentials in the local network devices. Now, this is something that we have always been doing. Like for example, you want to protect your VQI line, then normally what we do is we do a line VQI 04, and we literally set a password here. Okay, Cisco, for example, or ABC123, and then we say login. Now, the very fact that we do this, we have basically created a login credential, but we lost the accountability because there's no username. So, like I mentioned in last Friday, 10 admin all sharing the same word. Okay, no good. Okay, no good in practice. So in all the commands that you're going to do in a AAA, you realize that you don't have this one. Okay, because you're going to rely on your local database, one. The other one is your radius server, the next one your packet server. Okay, or a combination of you. Alright? So this is easy to teach new students, right? The concept of protecting the network. But in practice, normally we don't do it, right? Because not safe at all. Worst still, line VTY using Telnet. When all the login credentials are actually being done across the network, the passwords are sent in clear text. And that's even worse. Someone decides to sniff the packet, and that's it. Okay, you're not protecting against your external threat. You're protecting against internal threat. Someone who will come to a course like this decides to basically download Wireshark and put it into the school's network or the office network, they can throw, know exactly what's happening. Okay. Now, yep. So the alternative is to basically set up a local database, and over here you can see that you're able to create user admin, for example, strong password, and then or admin1, admin2, admin3. So this line can be many lines. Okay, many different users. Say for example 20 of us here, we can set 20 admin1 to admin2. Right, so each of us will be given a login credential, admin1, admin2, admin3, and then we do a share. Right? Now, of course, in practice, we share. That's a totally different story. Because I say again, I cannot log in, I'm admin1, you're admin2. Then I say, hey, come in, borrow. You will let me know. Okay, you can see line VT104, there's no password command. And now login. Now, login itself, as compared to just now what we saw, there's only a word login. There's no login local. Okay, but because right now you want to use your local database, so literally you need to basically say login local. Okay, and this word means what? It means that you are actually referring to this local database stored in R1. Okay, now this is R1. Okay, but what happens if R1 to R10? Then it becomes difficult to manage because every single one of them will have their own set of passwords. So sometimes we play cheat. For example, admin1, 10 devices, admin1 secret password are exactly the same in all the network devices. It's easier to administer, but once compromised, the rest over. Okay, so typically you can try to sort your password in accordance to the serial number. So, like for example, in this case, this machine here can potentially have a label, some kind of serial number or whatever. So for every single serial number, you pick up the number 3rd or number 5th, number 7th alphabet or numeric, and you insert to your password. So every time I come here, I know my password is, for example, strong password, but str insert one more, what I see on the, and that is very easy. Then because you don't have to remember password. Actually, someone asks you what's your password, you so cannot remember. You have to literally come to the physical machine and see a label. This label. This is how, right? Which is, I think, one of the way to remember many passwords. For example, for my case, I have easily 20 passwords to remember, and I do not remember password anymore. Here, I remember keystrokes, the pattern. So if tomorrow the school decides to change keyboard, as they always do every semester, I do a forget password. And literally I force myself to do a forget password every 3. Force myself because I can't remember. So that's so what is basically the name? Okay, what is self-contained AAA authentication? Self-contained literally means you store everything into the device and then you basically do a username password, like what we always do. /L or you do account. Right? Especially extremely useful for small network because it's easier to administer. But once you go up, you increase the size, it becomes very difficult. So this is where your server-based AAA authentication comes into play. This word server-based AAA authentication or login credential kind of or mode of operation has 2 subcategories. So 2 different services you can use. One, your radius server. The other one, your Academic Plus. Okay, 2 different types. And so your lab basically require you to do 2 tests. Now, your practical test on week number 7 or 8. Now, you do not have a choice. Now, the question will ask you to do radius or do either one or both. Right? But if you remember what we saw on Friday, the commands are very similar. Okay? Just you have to remember to turn on the service. So okay, right. Now the advantage of using this AAA is also you can think of it this way. This is the primary way of logging in. Now as a backup, there's always an option. So you can do group backups. Then after that, you rely on your local. Okay, I can do that. Which is extremely useful because it's also considered a form of redundancy. In case your server goes down, because the machine, it will go down. Okay, then at least minimally all the network devices are still accessible. Right? So literally what happens is when a user needs to be authenticated, now it goes to the router. Now the router basically sends a request to the AAA server and basically do a match. A match with what? Match with the secret key number and also the secret key. It must be a match. Okay, then literally if it happens that way, then what's going to happen is the server will inform the router, yeah, you can let him post, let the user. Alright, so in terms of data transmission, you will see that there are extra traffic that is going up and down between the router and the servers, the AAA server. Now, if you think about this, then it also makes sense that you want to bring your AAA server close to the network devices that you are handling, because you don't want it all the servers in Japan and then in Singapore, all your network devices. Then you make use of a wide area network link to basically do communication between Japan and Singapore just for authentication purposes. Then it doesn't make sense, right? It's not that technically cannot be done, but you're wasting your bandwidth up and down. Right? Okay, and yep. Alright, so the same concept for AAA, the three word AAA, or as in authentication, accounting, and authorization. The concept is the same, how they use it. Okay, but for our course, our main focus is still on the authentication. Right? Right, so this command is actually important. Actually, these two set of commands is actually important. You see them again and again. Now, no matter what you do, if you don't do this particular command, AAA new model, so this is basically to enable AAA to happen for your network device. If you don't do this, whatever commands you type, no use. It will not be enabled at all. You can still insert, but you cannot do AAA. Right? So please always remember, this is the command that is like must do that, it's not mandatory. Followed by your AAA authentication, spacebar question mark, then you have other options. Okay. The second one is to basically define the method list and basically to apply to a particular interface. Right? So, but this is must. This one is okay. In some of the labs, troubleshooting labs, everything is done properly, minus this command. And the students will search all over the place, try all the possibility, but actually the answer is just one line. Not AAA anymore. Right? Now, what happens if you have done it and then you find that something is wrong, doesn't work? Then one of the easiest ways is to basically do a no AAA new model. Literally, AAA will be disabled, and then you go back to your local database now. So if you have set your local database, then the redundancy can straight away be applied.
So does this clear config also, or the config still there, just disabled?
The config is everything is still there, but the no AAA new model will basically disable this function altogether. Right? Yep. So take note of this caution. Do not use this command unnecessarily unless you're prepared to basically configure AAA authentication. Because if not, literally your telnet is gone. You can't do that. Right? Right. Now, this is basically to show the common syntax, how you basically do a AAA. There are two methods. So basically, when you do AAA new model, AAA authentication, then you specify the type. Now, if you remember on Friday, most of the type that you saw was actually by default. Okay, default means what? And all the different remote connection possible for the particular network device are all included. Okay, are all included. If you do not want, then you can use a name list. This is another option where you can define what you want the AAA to be applied to, whether it's console or whether it's Okay, but generally the easiest way to remember is always to use default, so that by default all the remote connections via console port, BTY or TTY, everything that will be based on your. That's the easiest to remember. Alright. Then of course the other type, the number 3 is on your method. Method 1, method 2. So method 1 is like your primary means. If this fail, as a secondary method, it will be your method. Okay, so you can add a radius, add a hex, add a local data. Okay, depending on what you want. Right? So far, okay? Alright, so there are other options. Okay, like for example, the word group comes in pair with the radius and the hex. And there are also things like, for example, local, this is always what we have seen. And then things like local case. Okay, local case is also an option where it becomes a case sensitive.
I think of your local case.
Becomes case sensitive. But typically, you don't have to care about this. You don't have to use it. You can actually just Alright. Now, so far what we've talked about is the basic of AAA. There are add-ons or what we call trimmings. You draw a snake, then you add legs, for example. Okay, all these are not mandatory, but these are things that you can further step up your security measures to all these controls. For example, what happens if someone try to log in but forget password 3 times? You try, cannot. Then you have options to basically do a lockdown that particular user. Okay, so commands like this: AAA local authentication attempt maximum fail, how many? If the person try 3 times and set 3, then what's going to happen is it's going to be locked down. Right? So once again, these are options, and this is not mandatory. Okay. When a user account is locked out, when the admin user account is being locked out, then another admin will have to come and clear. If not, the guy cannot do it. Okay, so normally, for convenience sake, normally this command, okay, because it's very easy. You need to go and beg your friends to help you, and it's very embarrassing, right? But like I said, these are options. Option is right. The other one is basically your delay, login delay. Like for example, if I try 3 times, they log me out for 30 minutes. Much like Cisco. You try 3 times, then they will ask you wait for 2 hours, then you continue. 2 hours. How to do that? But you know what I mean? So these are options. Okay, let's take a look at this particular example. Okay, so config T, username, 2 admin, junior admin, and senior admin, secret, then 2 different passwords. Then you set enable your AAA for this particular R1, and then you say AAA authentication. Okay, this is the standard command syntax. Then you say login, default. Okay, default means what? All the different controls or remote connection type are all included, and then you say so literally what happens now is instead of using local, you use local case, literally means that space sensitive. Right? Second, AAA local authentication attempt maximum fail 10. So any one of these two who fail 10 attempts, the account will be low. Okay?
So this one has no connection with the server yet.
No, this is still
Just
your
the router.
Local.
Local. That means no AAA server. No AAA server. Because of this is considered local device. Easy to understand when you have 1 or 2 devices. You have 10, 20 devices, and you have to repeat this. It's tedious. It's very tedious. Alright, name list. So this is an example of using a name list. So same thing, 2 user local database or 2 login credential, enable AAA new model, then AAA authentication. Standard. Login, default, local case, enable. Right? Then after that, you say AAA authentication, login, name, telnet, login, local case. Now, please tell me what's the difference between what we've seen. Then we do a YVQI04, login authentication, telnet.
The local case on. The difference.
Just now got local case also.
Just now local case. Enable extra one, right? Okay, if you don't know this, also no problem.
Telnet.
Because when you do space lock
Enable.
question mark, right? They will tell you option carry you can cache return without any. Okay, but you will still work. But there's something else.
Telnet. Yeah.
Why is there a need to set two?
Yeah.
Just now do the two. Just now only the default. But now got one extra name. Why?
Why is the local? Why is the server?
No server.
No local.
No server.
Just one is default, the other is Telnet.
That one redundant lah.
One is for the VDI.
One is for the VTY. Very close.
一个是
Telnet login one is for the VPY.
一个 console， 一个是
The rest is
Telnet。
using the
In this case, if you don't write this line, remember this was default.
Mm.
On all remote connection type.
Right.
But now you are
Specifically,
specific say for Telnet login. I need to define line V204 login authentication, Telnet login. So this Telnet login will now refer to this guy and not this guy.
does it affect local console in? So the local console in use default, is it?
Okay, very good. How about line console 0?
Default. Default.
Line console 0.
other default one is still
Okay, so the question is, with this set of command, can I go to the line plug default cable, blue color console cable to the console port, then open hyperterminal or PuTTY, login. Can or cannot?
Okay.
I never do line console 0.
the default
Where?
login default.
This is
But
just
that's triple A.
Oh, but how
triple
many?
A. I never say line console 0.
The console not protected at the moment.
I never say line console 0, then login local.
Once you define the name base, you have to define all.
If you do this, you don't do this, tapakil. You must apply. Those are three things that you need to do, right? One, enable AAA. Second, do the setup. Third, you must apply. So you do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, without this, nothing happens. You didn't apply. Macam like ACL.
No, but ACL like.
You write ACL statement, but you don't apply to the interface.
Yeah. So in this case, we have to apply one more step for console, one more step for VDY 5 to 15.
Correct.
That means the first line doesn't matter anymore. Right?
Correct.
Once you apply name list, it doesn't disregard the default.
No. So for example, you can actually write an option line console 0, login authentication local. So the login authentication local for console refer to this line, and VDY refer to
Oh, so no matter what, I set to apply.
still the line. Now this is the confusion part. Sometimes have, sometimes don't have. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you don't write line console 0. Don't write line console 0. You will naturally apply to line console 0. It doesn't. Because you need to apply the. So AAA got three parts, remember. Enable AAA. Set up what you want to do using AAA authentication, blah blah blah. Then you must apply.
See if I do apply line console 0, I go and during the test I go and plug in. I can still console in.
Right, say again.
If I want to test whether I got console access in the test, regular test, I go and console in. I can still access the router using the console.
Okay. Maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, Ahmed. If you do line console 0, password ABC, login. Then your login using console will be ABC.
Okay.
But if you line console 0, login local. And then you
Close out there.
line console 0, login local. Then you'll be talking about referring to the local database. But the administration is
No. If I'm saying that I want to play fun, I want to try whether I can test after going through this thing. I don't need the line console. I don't remember to put in the line. I just
you plug a blue console cable.
The last line must also be the login authentication.
Yeah. So it's either you use V210 to 4 login authentication local, or if not, you use this one. This one or this one.
If I say just put line 0 4, this one.
Cannot.
Huh?
Line B22024,
Yeah.
then your configuration prompt will change to this. After that, it will follow, it will continue. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Right? Okay. So when you apply the time, make sure you know what you apply because every single command syntax has a meaning. Right? So when you try out the lab, you will see all the pattern for 3 parts. So just take note. Okay, so this is related to the lockout. So you can do a show AAA local user lockout. Now don't have to remember all these commands. Okay, because you can always do a show AAA type space bar question mark and then see the different options. Okay, that's the easiest way to remember. Right? Anyway, you don't have a like exam for this practical test, right? So you can do a space bar. Troubleshooting AAA authentication, you can do a debug command. But personally, I don't like this because it's very messy. But options are there to basically see whether your AAA is actually on or. So okay, everyone. Okay, this just add on to what we'll talk about on Friday, so that at least when you do it at time, you can play around with it and see what is the difference before after. Okay, server-based solution. So all that we have spoke about just now, all the different trimmings, extra add-ons are all related to your local database, stored within the device. So if we move on to the server-based type, there are once again methods like this. Two different options. Basically, what we call the terminal access control server plus the remote download user. Alright, one of them is Cisco proprietary, the other one is not Cisco proprietary. So somebody asked, I think, on Friday, hey, what's the difference between the two? Okay, what's the difference between the two? There are some differences, but in terms of usage, commands wise, okay. Right. TechX is considered more secure, okay, because all exchanges are encrypted. For Radius, only the passwords are encrypted, the rest are not. Okay, but once again, if you think about this, is this critical? Okay, it is all housed within your local area network, it's not. Okay, unless you suspect someone within your own network trying to do something. Okay, unless you put your TechX server, Radius server far, far away from your local. Okay, but these are options. One of them is a Cisco proprietary protocol, and basically this is done by Cisco, and this falls under your TechX family. The Radius is not. Radius is basically defined under the RC standard. Okay, so in terms of security, TechX is actually better. Now this is the theory. So for example, you do assignment, they never say. They just say, please use AAA. Then which one will you choose? Okay, I will choose TechX. Then in my report, you say I chose TechX because da 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 da. So this is basically theory to beef up your application and your report. Okay, take note of the radius port 164.5.18.12. This is something that you see in your Cisco packet tracer whenever you turn on the services, and then literally they're using UDP ports. Okay, UDP ports meaning there's no hello AAA, can I talk to you? The guy must say yes. Then you say, thank you very much. Then you start. Okay, so basically you want to do AAA, you server straight away the guy shoot and throw. Okay. Now, Radius is in the past is typically used for voice over IP services, but yeah, nothing else I can say about this. Maybe it has changed over the years because voice over IP has been in a way succeeded by quite a lot of different technologies.
Is it me when you enter the prompt question mark, you cannot find the radius code? You must manually enter.
You must do the AAA new one. If not, you cannot even do good. Okay, so this table shows the comparison. How many of you still use Skype?
Use what?
Skype. You still Office or Office? Macam
They don't understand what is Skype. They
Very
don't
rare.
understand what is Skype.
No lah.
Skype still got WOG using.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it?
WOG still using Skype. I don't know why.
But this there's a backtrack, right? In the past, in government agencies and for state or people use everything cannot be connected to the internet. You realize that, wow, how to work. Now they are backtracking. Okay, so this table shows a comparison. Just take a look. This. Alright, so we have been talking a lot about once again, your enabling your AAA model, then your AAA authentication. Remember, this is just a definition of the methods. And then, of course, there are others, like for example, we can do, instead of authentication, which is one of AAA, you can also do authorization. And these are just options. So one of the easiest ways to learn is basically do AAA authorization, is a question mark, and see what. Okay, but in your lab, you're not required to do this. I don't foresee you doing this for your lab. It's the authorization. Right. So, because of the way AAA works with the server, that is why in our commands, there must always be a pair. That means the router must point to a server, the server must point back to a router. So, take note of the IP addresses. One is 3.1, the other one must be, for example, 3.2. Or depending on the network, of course. But definitely there must be a pair like this. And apart from the definition of the IP addresses, where to point to, it must also have the key and also the password. Okay, all this must be there in order for it to work. For some reason, you program is not working, doesn't conform to the intended behavior, then take out. How to take out? No AAA new model. Take out. Disable it. Then you try your normal local database, make sure it can work, and after that you put back again, and then slowly. Okay, that's one way. Okay? Don't try to do this. Include text, include radius, include local database, all one shot. It's very difficult to troubleshoot. Okay? If you need to. Alright, I'm going to skip this. It's better to do the lab, then it's easier to understand on the different definition. And let's take a look at this one. So, example, you have R1 here, and you have a server that's sitting over there, running a options like this, and then this enable, and then you have to basically say packet server host point to who, single connection, for example. Now this single connection is not mandatory. Okay, in your lab you don't see this, and then you define the server key. So what's the purpose of this single connection? Okay, single connection means what? I'm the router. I say AAA, I'm talking to you. Once the session is up, I don't tear it down anymore. In normal circumstances, if you don't have this, every single time you do a AAA authentication, you have to go and talk to the server. Server, create a session, on. Cannot, can. Finish, terminate. Next time, AAA server, can I talk to you? Yes, session on. Check the validity. Okay, finish, terminate.
You ask for password. When you asking them, asking the server, they are available now, then they are asking for a password.
No. Basically, it's creating a session by your layer number 5, your 7 layer OSI is layer number 5. You must create a session, okay, for communication with this. But when you do single connection, literally means that once the session is on, you don't tear down anymore. So the next time you will call, you just, but not mandatory. No need this. Because from a user perspective, you feel this. Okay. Actually, in fact, it's better to initiate a session every single time. It's better. So normally what you see is you set up a host and you set up a key. Now remember this host and key. This key must be inside the service, the server, under the enabling of service.
Oh,
But a lot of people will put in the same IP address, which is wrong. Okay, which is wrong. So please take note of this IP address when you set up the server. It cannot be the same because they have to point to each other. Right? Radius, same. How you set up? That's next. Question? Anyone? Alright, so let's come to this library. 100 here. Okay, we say router point to 100. In the server, you must say point to this. Whatever IP address is here, you must point to this guy. Okay, if this so happens to be the gateway, then it's easy to understand. If it's not the gateway, then same thing. You still have to point to that. Right? Choose the interface that's closest to the server so that this guy don't have to do routing before the traffic is going. Okay, likewise over here, there must be a pair. So same thing, this guy must point to the. Good. Now, there's one minimum prerequisite that we're talking about. When we say point to the IP address, means your basic network must always be up first. If your VLSM is wrong, your design is wrong, your IP addressing is wrong, by default cannot ping each other already. How to do this? No way. No way. So students VLSM wrong one don't care whack boom 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 boom. Cannot find what's the mistake because the basic is connectivity must already be established before anything starts. Okay, so please remember. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So if you do AAA authentication login default question mark, you see options like this. And if you choose group question mark, and you will see radius and okay, so this is a good way to remember the commands. Okay. So it's very easy. Now you just have to remember enable AAA. AAA new model. Second one, AAA authentication, spacebar question mark. There are many options, don't care. Just use the spacebar question mark to help. You've done the lab before, they will come back to you. Trust me. Okay. Alright, so let's try to interpret this line. Anyone? AAA new model, enable already. Enabled already. Then AAA authentication, login, default. All remote connection type. Group brackets, group radius, local case. It means what?
Means first login default. The first choice is group taggers, then second choice is group radius, then third choice is local.
Understand? Three options. Okay, three options.
This
Okay.
provided that we have set up and it links to the detectors or radius.
Of course. So one of the easier way to try, there are three options here. So first option is always this one. If login is unsuccessful, then radius will use. Then if this is not successful, then the local database will use. So in your test, if you want to try out something like this, it is advisable to use different login credential and different password for this.
Okay.
If you use the same, right, you cannot
You
tell.
won't know which one is the
You
one.
don't know which one, unless you do not use real-time mode. You use simulation mode to basically do the simulation. Then you can see the traffic goes to the correct server. If you use real-time mode, there's no way you can get. How you know which one? Because it's the same. I mean. Password 123 123 123. You enter. How you know you use? It's impossible. Unless you use your simulation. Oh. All right. Let's take a look at this one.
Can we enable that first before we do this? Before we authentication or this second server?
Balik seconds.
We just in our previous slide, we just enable
The last line.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yes, right.
Then
They do it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be wrong. But of course, when you do this, you don't have this, then you cannot. Right. But it's easier to remember because there's a certain sequence with this need this need this. It's easier to remember. If not, you'll be memorizing commands, which is not advisable. Alright, same thing, you can do a debug AAA authentication. You will basically find out the different group that has been utilized, whether it's fast or whether it's still, it will show if it's still. Right. Once again, debug option. You can choose any of the AAA, you can choose events, you can choose try out for example, to see what you should use. Some of the displays are useful, some of the displays are not useful, some of the displays are difficult to decipher, but at least options. Right. This is just an example. If you want to try out the debug, then usually you will see information like this. Okay, from which IP address to which IP. Okay, authorization. Okay, we are moving away from AAA, one of the authentication. Now we're moving to authorization, just a quick brief. Literally, this basically allow you to limit the kind of services that's made available to the user, okay, depending on the user profile. For example, junior admin was been there for 1 year or less than 1 year, and compared to another one who has been there for 6 months, 1 year, 6 years. Then you have different administration. But as mentioned, this requires a little bit of coordination and administration. It's difficult. We all belong to the same department. We're going to impose a privilege level on you and not me versus he. Sometimes it's more than technical. It's personal relationship with the person. Exactly. Quite difficult. Okay. So, example, one can do show version, one cannot do config domain, which is very strange. If the guy is an administrator with a job profile, he can do config domain. Then what can you do? But options. That's a technology solution. Alright, so just a quick example of what we mean by authorization. Right? Our main focus once again is on authentication. Okay, on login credential, protecting the hardware, make sure that no one goes in without any pre-stated approval. And then I think that's the main focus. Alright. Okay, so let me go back to the delivery plan. Yes. Anyone has any question so far about the? Now you see that I tried to for this exercise or for this 2 weeks, right? My main focus is really on to introduce to you the commands, but yet at the same time also to highlight the possible options and probably common mistakes made by students or in terms of interpreting the commands. What they could do. Finishing the command itself is not. Okay. Alright, so people, this is week number 3, sorry, week number 2, and we are here. Now, follow the lesson plan in the Blackmore. Okay, because I understand Brian has tweaked it a little bit. Okay, maybe because the other courses, because there are 3 groups taking, maybe one of the courses are slower. So you can see some adjustment. Okay, this is our original delivery plan. Okay, you can see in the Blackmore, right? Week 2 cover 1 lab only. Then this week cover another lab. And then, but no problem. Okay. So what I need you to do now is the time now is 7:36. Alright. So as planned, these 2 lab 2A, 2B, I hope over the weekend you have very quickly scanned through the commands. You can refer to them if you are really lost. No problem. But what I want you to try out is to go in and try to set up and see whether it works. Okay, so do this as a practice for your lab test week number 8. I'm very sure there will be commands that you need to do on week 8 according to this AAA plus syslog, NTP, and your okay, because there's nothing else to ask. Must come in. Okay, so my suggestion to you is maximum 45 minutes to A, maximum 45 minutes to B, and the rest of the time, for those people who have not done so, please go to your Ducati and try out the tutorial. The tutorial comprises of 2 big parts, so that's why the tutorial quiz is actually very long. Actually not a quiz, so don't worry about score. So what I need to do is also, once you finish these 2 labs in the class, no homework, finish everything, and after that save a copy, make sure you understand what you're doing. If not sure, just ask around. And then towards the end, go and settle your tutorial. Okay, I need every one of you to try the tutorial, okay, just to get a feel. I'll mark your attendance today based on the tutorial attendance as well. Okay, so tonight I'll mark your attendance. So you should have enough time, more than.
Right. Where's the tutorial? Oh, the tutorial topic 3. But that's security so creative.
Yeah, so for those people who are
Johnny 有放那个 room Xia something.
Oh, okay.
How do we know whether or not you attended before or I can't remember.
these are the people that were attempted. Okay.
Not up there.
I remember. I think I do have.
I think it does.
So practically,
Okay, these are the people who have attempted so far for
3%, Mr. Teh. Oh no.
You attempted but zero.
I do halfway.
Okay, progress period.
Hey, you got Jasper.
Then why got 2 me?
Because you do twice.
Just Jenny, zero leh, you never try.
I never submit.
Huh?
I never submit.
You never submit.
Jasper did twice.
Yeah, I did twice.
Mr. Tay also did twice.
Yeah. Okay, so I need everyone's name to be here. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 20 names. Must at least try one time.
Who put the name Lionel Test?
Me lah.
Oh, you.
I put it on the Oh, I put my name, I signed it, I asked my daughter to test, then she only went, hey. Okay, Ken? So, 31st October, today, week number 3, 2 hours. Please make full use of these 2 hours to get inside this 2 lab. Trust me, by week number 8, you're very comfortable with these 2 labs. Week number 8, one big portion of it, no problem. Okay, don't wait until, later, no later. Once you finish, you should be very happy. Okay? Okay, the room name is SEAHA915. You can use it on the phone. Now you can play with it. You do 10,000 times, it doesn't matter. I'm going to open it up for a while. Okay, until at least next week. Alright, untang lagi, please carry on.
What's my password?
Siao, you forget this password.
This
This one, is it possible to reset?
Yes.
I never forget this password before.
Yes.
Yeah, then okay, I can reset.
Why you always say that?
Can reset no.
Next time, I'm going to put one. You know Majestic, Chinatown Majestic Theatre, right? Last time.
What is
You buy
that?
ticket, right?
Majestic Theatre, what? Wait, I search.
You buy ticket, right? There's a certain number of seats being blocked off. You know?
我的企业啊，
Chinatown.
Oh, is it 7 one? Oh. Oh, look very nice on Majestic Theatre. Look very 老古eh. You already do before already also, right? And you never do it? Then how do you know it's 96% also?
I don't know. I told you I don't know already.
Oh.
I said in the group I didn't do much. I was in Malaysia. I went to Malaysia on Saturday and Sunday.
Y'all can, if y'all want, y'all can try this one first also. No problem.
But I guess car
Anyway, your friends are all here, y'all can discuss. Doesn't matter one, I'm not taking the spot. I'm just taking the attempt.
I think I got 2 attempts already.
yeah, 0 and 3. At least Mr.
Okay, last
Tay got
time,
100.
the earlier semester, those guys who did 513, then we put up this quiz, right? Now, attendance is taken only if the person gets 70%.
Wow.
So they try and try. Then you see the attempts super long one. But I think no need.
Yeah, our class already try hard. No need to put extra, try hard.
So this student.
The full-time student, they will try on the spot. Anybody get less than 50% go outside, send to
Very nice. Found it.
Yes. Space follow away.
Kiwi and Singapore.
Information.
How come you all change colour? But which one you were with Brian? Then you told Brian. Is he very sad?
It's very sad.
I think the system is going good. That's why not good. The number not. It's just all things.
Okay, focus.
What the fuck is Smurf?
Smurf is the one we explained. Papa Smurf.
Papa
Or the
Smurf.
little Smurf.
I thought Smurf is the bot one.
Similar. Wait, let me see.
Which?
What is the default name for reality vector?
Why out of 4 must choose 3?
Your Smurf one you already passed it.
Yeah. Can you see the X? The X.
The Smurf one is this answer. I just got the Smurf question.
It's the pink one, right?
Yeah, ping to submit.
Yeah. Huh? Sure. Can I ask you a question? DDoS and distributed denial of service and denial of service
Different.
有什么差别？
You get more parties involved in it.
所以 DDoS 是比较多人的啦。
You get a lot of people to do DDoS.
That's what distributed means.
Distributed
distribute,
is
okay,
the word
distribute.
means you spread out the but the
So it's
concept, the effect form is the same, but you get more people to do it. Like I do a ping hyphen T, right? But I get all of you do ping hyphen T. I'm doing a video. But I do myself in video.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Go.
On you're here. You run? Yeah. Joseph. Shakri. Not here. COVID or? No. Fudal. Sharu. Ramizan.
Maybe go.
Maybe.
Because so no way it's going for the sake of it.
And City.
Right, fuck off.
Your question. Question number 20. What is the encryption algorithm used for NSA? Isn't it RSA?
MD5.
Oh.
Because when you set the modulus key, you set the RSA modulus key for the actual Yeah, guys, just to highlight to you, you see the delivery plan slightly different from what you see in the distribution of the lectures and the lab, right? One slightly different. This is also original. So you can see supposedly last Friday or last week, we should have completed 2A, 2B, but it was being pushed. You can see the difference. Okay, so don't worry. We'll be able to finish everything within 6 weeks. No problem.
The ACL need more time.
ACL, I thought we all learned before.
Yeah. Still need revision.
Actually, you don't need revision. You don't need to do on the spot. Don't bring back as homework because it doesn't work.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The quiz, right, is week 1, week 2. Week 3, will it be completed or it will be next? Or there will be a new room for the week 3?
Week 1 tutorial is on another room.
Okay, so every
This is
room,
week 2 and week 3.
so every tutorial question, every tutorial quiz, there will be a new room created.
Actually, the original intent is to use what's in the room.
But it seems that we accessing to try the question. It will make sense to have the room still available for testing. For
But
trying.
yeah, correct, but I don't have so many accounts. So what I can do is maximum I can only alternate 2. So once I need the first tutorial week 1 for next week, for example,
Okay.
I will need to disable.
Is there a sample answer that we can get of the right and
So
wrong?
when you do it at time, you should do a
Copy down.
screenshot. Don't copy, just do a screenshot of each of them.
So week 1 you will remove it today.
Next week, before the start. Submission.
Okay, good. You must get 70 above.
No. Just try that.
Okay.
What did you get?
60.
You got 69 or some shit like that.
You got 69.
I think so.
But you try again.
You cannot with too many words there.
I know, right? The
And then,
part,
and then
the part that just give you a config, right? You just
Yeah, then I like,
shit so many things to read.
and then my brain just shut down halfway.
I feel the same.
Oh, I want to go toilet. You want to go toilet?
Let me finish one. This is my second attempt. Trying to speed up.
I'm gonna do my packet tracer.
Okay.
Because I know I talked. Hey, if you tell I think I'll be staying late today.
Then how then?
I want to finish all the packet tracer.
No, the packet tracer only got two, quite fast one.
Yeah,
Trust
no,
me.
but I don't want to open I want to literally 这样做.
Should still be quite fast if you remember what he just said just now. A lot of it is what he just said.
The NTP right? So I just stuck at the first 14 tasks already. I forgot what to do it.
NTP is 3 command only one.
What's the command?
The 3 command is NTP server IP address, NTP update something, you just tap. Then service timestamp, then you tap. Then you login host and IP address. Something like that.
This one is just let me do. If you have job, you just job. This one I will use today to do this because I know if I go home I won't do shit. I know when to go home. Get my bin part. You just finish. Yeah. I'm gonna do it in class. If I go home, I know I open Netflix and I just lie there.
What, 87%. Yeah, tolerate.
Yeah. I think I just hit the command first. This
I don't know, keep running again.
so this first. So what is the purpose for show? Oh, never mind. Okay, sorry. Oh, oh, oh. Incident.
Just keep a copy for you. Oh, and simple.
Oh.
Wow, so many. Never touch my transfer. Oh, this is concern.
160%.
Let's do this big.
Okay, I do already. So oh yeah, I didn't text in our group. Right? Did I text in our group? When I asked about the PKA thing, I did this morning.
No, I don't think you asked.
Then I think I asked in the team group. I asked about teams because I couldn't get 100%. 96. 96, right?
The username.
Username. Yeah, correct. I also. I also.
Yeah, the username.
Yeah, the
Correct.
username.
I don't know why. That's over.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It says that you don't set the username.
Eh, 讲你一样分哦，
什么是
得63了。英文读的。
你看这样远呢，看不到哎。
你在戴眼镜。
This is fresh.
60. 163.
This one is 83 or 63.
183啊？183啊？不粘呢，等一下我就来付一个。
你看得到的嘛？红色点多少？你看到吗？
差不多了。
2A.
There's no key, there's no authentication key. So then why is there one master? So why NTP got master but no slave one?
Everybody else is a slave, as long as you're following the NTP server.
That means basically all the router you just put NTP server, then you just point to the server.
Yeah, the command is the same for all three routers. That's why you see I create config file.
NTP server 嘛，这些都是开的。
Yeah, 咯，这三个都是可以的。
我还以为 R1
开那个 server。
没有，我还以为 R1 会 point to server， then R2 point R1， then R3
没有，
point
那时候等于
All point to the server on the left side.
哦
That's why the IP address all same.
OK to show NTP status. No way. Show clock. Yep.
Boom! 100, bro. Can stop it.
Okay, can end work already. Can go home already.
No, I can do the PK one more time. Just for fun, try after.
I think it's okay now.
96, right? Everybody 96.
Because y'all, I think y'all didn't do the privilege command.
No.
Yeah. I think the answer requires you to put the privilege level, but that doesn't matter. No. Like, for example,
So username privilege 15, something like that.
I can't remember the privilege level. No, 15. Yeah.
I don't remember any.
But not important. Most packet tracer file completion rate requires exact match. But sometimes some of the commands you don't have to be a exact match in order to
Practical test or not?
practical test will be very specific. If they ask you to change the privilege level, then you tell me what privilege. But if it's not mentioned, then it's
Configure tension service for login on the web. Configure timestamp. Configure timestamp service for login on the router. Configure timestamp.
哦，你要打进去，已经我的，
我也是，我不知道。
我还要打进去。
Configure timestamp.
It's in the A new model, is it?
No, when you actually first enter the AAA model, right, you have to look for radius, not radius.
Interesting. I didn't notice.
I'm trying to see whether I got shortcut out or not. Yeah. That's what I want to learn. Make sure I'm studying.
So I'm so thankful you did this shit.
yeah. In this particular example, they say for R3, create a user ID of access HTTP, right? With the highest possible privilege. So in this context, right, the statement requires spell out the requirement privilege level. It means that you have to put in privilege 15. That's why you get username as well.
Okay.
But other than that, because the default is also privileged. But the command syntax require you to put in the
Privilege 15 secret then Cisco that one is it? Actually,
figure. 15 cannot.
Maybe it's not 15.
Highest possible. 15. Then secret.
99.
Then
Oh,
use secret.
secret. Yeah, I use secret.
Cisco SSH 58
Yeah.
Then service password encryption.
Oh, never do service password encryption. So that's the 5 mix up.
But they didn't say lah. So if still cannot, then it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Yeah, doesn't matter.
nope.哦，可以不错。这个是 Clear IS， 这是点这些我都是 TP7。then 这个我几个 router identify。
If those are completed, I can go first.
Hey, sorry, when we start to meditate, you guys want to quit her living with you?
Sure.
那你看什么？
Yeah, go.
那你看什么？
Who is presenting which portion for tutorial tomorrow?
别人是什么？不是别人先。
哦，Wednesday 是 sorry。
你们有空帮我叫我的那个有一个发网我还没做，那个那个 need do 的对不对？我还有一个 need do 的还没做。哦，那个上面啊，
你说
OK。所以我是那个我还没有看。我放来看，有没有 check 一下了？对啊，反正你上不慢了嘞。You see the other group do until so simple, we do until so hardcore like that.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。
旁边那个。
I already pulled back already.
13 slides for cooling。
呀，你的 cooling 有点。
13 slides cooling。
我的来 2 page 可以讲，我还很勉强的在全组都 2 page。
我还给你加那个百姓耶。
Okay, thank you very much. pricing 我们 pricing 可以分给多一个人来做。
You got 13 page for cooling, right? Only 6 page for the front part there. And I'm not even done with one of the 6 page.
我的 calculating resource 不就是在那边了哦？
No. You are calculating resource based off your hardware. I'm calculating based off how many user we have. Each user use how much. Therefore, we come at that
不是那
conclusion.
个，不是那个，假如每一个人用100 MB 的那个 for per page， 就是用20 GB RAM 嘛。The 200 user concurrent， 他们 use per page for IIS 就是100 MB 哦。Per user 啊 then we use 100 MB 的 RAM 3分之200就是20 GB 哦。That since it's 200 people online at the damn same time.
Correct. But the thing is, I think you might want to explain that. Because 我这样子看来 like what the heck is this 200 times 400?
Users times 100.
你懂我意思啊？
Okay lah, basically I'm telling you that is the
Yeah.
what lah.
Yeah. Also, where do you come at this 100 MB number?
One of the forum.
哪里？
你看我其中一个 link 啊，我其中一个 link 有 I got like 5 link there， 在上
对啊。
其中一个 one of the links。
Okay, then I think we might need to flesh that out a bit rather than it's just one page of like that Yeah, unless you're the one presenting and then you will remember what you want to say.
这个我在讲啊，这个我做，这个我讲啊。
对。那 then 这样子太少东西per person to 讲了。那现在 like even from the start， 我们只有这几个问题了。对，所以会很勉强了。Number 4， 一个人做一个。Could be 5% now.
我们半夜还是两个人哦，来半夜3个人哦。
Yeah, okay咯. Okay.
It seems like it has to be like that. Because there's 13 slides, so you I think the 3 of you go and split the behind.
对，C 对它 A 有什么 ？Server configuration for web server.
Something like that.
Server configuration plus another big component is the pricing escalation.
你don't need pricing 嘛？
What's that?
还是要 pricing 吗？
Your pricing somewhere.
pricing
Power, temperature, estimated cost.
Okay lah, one person can take the cooling, one person can take the power plus temperature and operating condition. Basically 那个 part A 对，几乎可以分来3个这样子啊。Cost 一个人做 ，power 跟 temperature。
I already combine into one slide already, all this.
Power temperature.
The costing for this part.
Costing can one person take already 吗？
Yeah.
Costing 一个人就可以做了，一个可以做 costing， 一个做。
它这是单单for 你的发电，单单 for 发电。单单 for 发电你的。
finish 了，super 了。
Wait, finish what? 啊，这个做了 lab 还是 lab
The squeeze and the pull up.
the AB one 啊？The AB I still doing.
The
你看啊，
有名字就是需要
in the Excel sheet, I already put in the pricing. I use this machine and put in the pricing.
At the moment, they are two.
So this is the design fees for the planning for the data center. This is the server
two different
pricing.
room name, right?
SQL 我放2个 cal，
8078
两个
IWG.
敲什么？
2个 cal 是2个 license to control the SQL server.
Okay, can.
然后2个 admin staffing, the internet access, daily maintenance, power costs and facilities maintenance, 5 years suppression, 还有房子差没有放进去 building of the data center. 那个
一个人可以拿 cost 吗 ？Cost is like more than enough for one person already.
The thing about cost, just read the cost.
你看 based on more cost, we have found that what is this, what is that.
There is a guide on this 它的那个 link right. it shows you how much percentage you should base. For example, 20% of the total cost should be belongs to the design. Then how about this one? I take this one. Is it okay? How about?
And
Yeah. Then
我们
the
拿出令，
所以拿回来，
我们
你拿回来，你拿回来。
台湾哪一个
The details are.
what are you
I
supposed
make
to
it
take
very
on
simple.
previously?
The diagram the words are.
I thought I was supposed to do that one, that part one.
Yeah, you're supposed to calculate out the how many is the thing, how many the thing needs. But it feels that when I read through this thing, it feels that it's not emphasized.
Jasper, sorry, Shawal, he got question to ask you.
What question? My question? 讲
No question.
ISS.
Oh no, we open your Wi-Fi.
Concurrently
现在给他
online.
这个一个 ugly highlight. Even if you look at the left side, you can see the ugly highlight there. 就是它这个 file. Page 8. It might change page because I might still be adding stuff. Yeah, so 你懂我在说什么？我在想把那个 because now your data right all plot inside here. This is basically the calculation and as well as what hardware you're using. It feels like it's explaining two things at one time. It's good, it's very short and sweet. But 变成你一个 slide 你就 present 两个东西啊。
But 我的 resource 不是 based on 多少人要用哦。
对， it's correct. But in terms of presentation, it's as if 你 over present， 那个 next person 没有 present 了。
哦。But 啦 why I do so much？
所以我故意拆它的这个东西嘞。所以 split 一边是 purely for calculating 多少 resource needed， 一边是 purely for what are we buying hardware wise， 懂我意思吗？
所以我就take hardware 啦。
either one，
随便。
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I will try to go and digest these slides and split it clearly into two parts. Because now it's a bit like merge. 你不讲我都没有看到这个 part 我只看到这样突然的转弯了 I don't know what's happening actually.
对了，是对了。
还有个在讲，这个主要是 tutorial. Can you go to the assignment folder?
怎么还不要 complicate things 呢 ？tutorial 还要去 assignment.
Okay, you go back and read this particular portion. 这个 assignment. 对。So scroll down to scroll up this one. So it's supposed to split up into the portion. So decide which one you want. So you have to take a look, see whether which one.
Then 我拿最 site location 的 layout.
很凶还要 plus icon design
我最需要的 accept.
很凶这个。
拿那个最 slack。
那你 slack 自己做很凶的这。
site location 跟他讲他妈放在 river 旁边，为什么我可以用 hydro power？
那个 layout
读书有 full layout 的，
乱 copy 的 Google 了，学会直接 cut and paste 弄进去。
我的 echo 会跟你一起 mix up 的，要不要讲好你讲什么讲什么？我们讲好了。
What do you want to do? Like have you already have everything out?
Yeah, I more or less look at the cooling one, right?
这不是 cooling 吗？
This is a tutorial. I'm looking at more information. That's why I'm saying I'm coding back. Simple look at the
那里，
yeah, 上面。
我刚才在上面啊，全部都害了。
上，
上去哪里？没有都在上啊。
谢。This one. This one. I'm looking at this one. And so how the aircon able to support the infrastructure. All the links are here. So this one right contains all the various items. This is the major assignment. 这个要说你还 40% 或者所以你可以 flash out. So you take a look, see tomorrow last Wednesday last My portion here may
Fuck is nature and you.
Is it open the quiz?
For what? Open already.这个 quiz 已经开了，
我们那个 Acad 没有，
那个 10 times 的，没有人你去找老师跟他讲一下，应该是开了，你没有开就是你的问题了。
他好像没有人问我。
你跟他讲一下，不然你之前拿0分呢
那个 Acad 录啊
？The 10 times do the quiz. 15% of your total result.
Oh, the quiz
Yeah, the quiz. The one that can do 10 times. He say if you don't have not enrolled in Acad. Okay 吗？ Not enrolled steady.
真的松的。
我的那个 coding 哦，可能会跟你那个 layout 会有一点的 interact。
一定有 interact 的嘛，然后你的 cooler 讲 place 你的 generator 这些讲，因为你 generator 这些全部要 place。
I'm still looking for more information before I settle down in execution. But the tutorial one, I will see whether is it possible to tell me that you think
你们的两个很连接，是因为based on 你们的那个什么UPS server 对不对？你要讲放对不对？那个 layout 要讲放。Business continuity what the？
好熟了。
那个很凶那个。我什么都很凶。
It's the same for me, bro. Like actually, 你如果要给我 cooling and power, then because cooling and power is purely theoretical.
Yeah. 我已经做好了吗 ？I'm still looking for more information. I really do.
It's purely theoretical, so technically it doesn't interfere with my layout or DC and site location. 因为这是我自己想要这样做，我就这样做。
Okay, 可以。
I can consider your theoretical cooling and power. And then I will factor in your theoretical power needs.
Okay.
That's about it.
Understand.
把你的 cooling for 你 server 你的aircon placement 啊，你的 generator UPS placement，
全部都是我吗？我不用投入啊，那个全部都是我在做啊。
我做 theoretical，
它只是 theoretical 而已嘛 ，cooling and power。
Okay, for example 啦，我 come out with a formula， 不过它 actual doing the formula 是他做。
Yeah, or 它可以 come out with these are the 5 type of cooling available for data center.
这样子 I know the
We choose to use this type. 我就会讲我的 layout DC, I choose to use this type because according to Johnny's research here, we determine that this is the best type for the location that I'm choosing. Something like that. You know, yeah. 所以我不用跟他讲太多了， but 他的是 theoretical research. 那这边他 research 哪一个好呢？我 just 去用他觉得好的就对了。
我会 build on ISO standards.
Yeah, 是你们下面的更 intertwined.
Where business continuity.
The things below are even more intertwined. So you're going to split first. I think it's very intertwined in the below.
The business continuity, I shall look at high availability, high redundancy based on the server. Whether
Business continuity 不是。
你要 look at facilities and the server itself. 两个都要做。
随便啊，那差不多。
来，你们选呢？ballot。你有哪一个你要，你再选呢？选两个去。
very good。我不想管那个。
那你们自己随便选啊。我跟Johnny已经拿 first four 啊。The next two easy one is 5 and 6 I feel. 这两个跟这两个很多 the permutation very big.
Yeah, true.
It can be anything eventually.
I can see Jasper. 96. 这个跟这个 you look at 那个 unique nature, unique features 还有那些 special 的幸福。
Just for 70.
So yeah, that's just where you are number 9 then.
你的 last year 的那些有没有
Then we upgrade. I got the two good one, very fun. This two is the most fun I feel.
Yeah, I have to agree.
It's the most fun. It's not so tedious as 这个 like 太多 permutation. There is some permutation.
这个很凶，我觉得这个很凶。
And 这个 is related to my part B. 我做 part B 一点点。
Yeah, true.
我的 part B 是 like 那个 green IT right, 那个 Google 的 design and how to get carbon free. So site location you want to locate at a place that gives you carbon free energy.
Yeah, agree with you.
Yeah, 所以已经想好了，所以我的 part B 跟这个是有关联的。So my research very how to say like funneled into one direction. 不用去做 double time 的 research. Okay, we good.
I saw that course of IT1, the IT1 you almost covered already.
Which one?
Yeah, so individual project.
No lah, that one I only like almost done the what is that only the executive summary. 后面的 solution 什么都没有，只是前面放那个 problem statement， 放那个。
The green database, the green IT1, then coming up with how to improve and technology on the corporate technology.
And the lecturer say 4 to 6 page 我2篇而已。Yeah, halfway there, 4 page minimum right.
Just put in the ticket 买到了没有？
没有，我打算买11耶，我现在等票出，我买 SIA。
Still 600?
You compare already.
700?
My budget is 1K.
You going Japan? 1K is one direction only right? Or two direction 1K?
2 direction 1K 哦。
2 direction 1K? Okay lah.
现在机票没有很贵嘛。
then okay lah.
No, very bad. Because of the stupid site. The site just cut my whole day.
SQ 好像是只可以进 city and city.
啊
Go in one city and sit by one city.
I don't know 啦，管他啦，1000多我也 OK 的啦，无所谓啦。反正 next year 我就 burden free 了。
How did you finish that? Yeah. Wednesday on.
Wednesday what?
Okay, copy.
Okay, make cheat sheet.
I don't see the cheat sheet until I really don't know. IP domain. User SSH admin privilege in wait, nama mana? This something fucking wrong. Why this never add mark?
哦，这个没有 M 码。 This is the bug. This is the bug part.
Oh, okay.
This is the 4%.
I thought it was wrong.
Yeah, mark.
Legal the line. But this one remember walao. I cannot remember the
0 to 4. Yeah.
the NTP sheet.
Because NTP you never learned before ma. This stupid BTY thing since the first group project until now 你一直在 abuse 这个 as bonus point.
That made my move better. Transport input.
abuse 到现在它是 the actual test.
Yeah, so oh, I love BTY.
Yeah, 每次有 any bonus? Yes, SSH.
Oh, okay. What extra point? Transport input SSH.
I remember already, yeah.
Yeah, our bonus is always SSH.
Yeah, let's put and
Damn lame.
Transport input SSH local, right? No, there's one login. Local.
Login.
Yeah. Wow, this I can remember the part. And I forgot how to do
Crypto key generate.
RSA 1024
哦，直接放呗
General 1024，
可以直接放啊？
现在都不会。
你 try 看可以吗？我通常没有直接放。
Wait, I'm missing something.
I usually put crypto key generate RSA enter，然后再 prompt。 Then RSA，
哦
then 按 enter， 它 prompt right， then 这里你再放1024。That's how I do it 啦。
以前可以这样的嘞。
I don't know。我没有直接放过 as one command， 通常是 enter， 然后 prompt 的时候我再放1024。
好像 can one 的呀 you see can generate key then you put the number.
Correct. It seems like you can because you question mark 它后面还是出给你。
Yeah, 对。Okay, start. I'm at 70%, blah blah blah. Verify SSH. Oh. This one I also forgot already. Session limit. When time? 2. Okay, apparently. Oh, I did wrong already. Shit. Okay, I need to go home do again. IPS.
Oh, I watched the Korean news, very scary. The number of people
The people that got crushed.
Oh, I thought you saying show.
That one also like a show where you see people get crushed. 打仗的。
That one just stupid.
that's why you show.
It's a mismanagement lah. It's not stupid lah. It's mismanagement. 没有人想到会这样 and get wrecked.
There's some rumors going around. It said it's because they saw somebody who was like famous.
Already.
This is the rumor that
They saw 2 tables.
In Korea also.
2 tables number 1.
Sure man.
I'm
What are the odds?
90 seconds. Then after that, IP SSH version.
Mr. Lionel, just now you say there's 2 things that's very good for question mark. It's AAA authentication question mark, and what's the other thing that is very good as a starting question mark for AAA? You said there was 2. I think one is AA authentication question mark. Most of the things will come out. What's the other?
apply
什么东西 apply 啊？
因为你只有3个而已啊，第一个是不可能要放 question mark 的。A question mark new model question mark。
apply 啊 apply，给我看一下啊。
Okay lah, this one I we said we do without seeing cheat sheet. We said 啊？就所以啊，今天你要留到很晚哦。
今天留到。He will just go home and he care about you. He won't just see it.
Just say must do finish 嘛。
It's login authentication, is it? Login authentication question mark.
Huh? So I don't know.
Now here is
I'm still at the NTP server. Yeah.
here is AA authentication question mark 嘛 so you come behind all the login. So it's login authentication question mark. So 它会出来后面对不对？
The only command that I remember was AAA new model. Then the rest I totally forgot.
New model 下面 is followed by AA authentication login something.
Okay, later I'll go to this question mark.
Then followed by so it comes as this. This is the 3 steps. So AAA new model followed by AAA authentication something. Then 你 authenticate 完你那个东西了 right? Then 你的 third one 是 login authentication question mark. 所以就刚才他在教的时候，他讲有2个嘛，就是下面这2个啦。After 你 activate 了 right? 这个你可以 imagine right? It's like IPv6 unicast routing. Yeah, without IPv6 unicast routing, it wouldn't work. So this one is like IPv6 unicast routing.
First one I will always remember. It's just that the behind the first one because we have this.
Yeah, that's why I realized that's the thing that I don't remember also. So we should write it down. AAA authentication question mark.
No, we should just keep press until right. That we remember it like 951 like that. 9 console 0 no shut. Fucking no shut.
你这样子一直 question mark.
Mr. Danny say no shut until now like 几年后我还记得 no shut. Fucking no shut all the way. Okay. This one is what 96 right? 好，我就来一个96。96%。
哦。2A 是 96%. Correct.
Copy, paste, and config. Okay, let me half screen. NTP server 192.168.NTP对啊，记得了。哦 basically Alpha 1做完了。对 just check。哦，对，忘记做这个。No. Login equal 1.1.1.6. Sweet. One done. Task 2. Oh. So how to get the system log to show something?
你出去 then 你再 enable 多一次。
You just
I tried it, but just now cannot.
你去你的 router 你出去先，你 exit 先
just do interface shutdown.
then 你再 enable 进去。Yeah. Enable password then 进去看。syslog.
Yeah, it's all. Refresh. No, there's no refresh. But the syslog is running already.
你的 syslog 有 logging on 吗？你的 logging host
Oh yeah, I didn't. Login host 有 but track 没有。But 7.
So you just have to do a shutdown, interface shutdown, and then
interface 随便。为什么要做那新？
去那个 interface 看算了。哦。
Why do I need to go sync for myself? 原来这个是有意义的。
还是 blank？ 有了，你没有 click， 刚才那个人叫你 click。
刚我 click 了，没有东西。
是 order 就是说 enable 全部有出来。
OK。哇，老天，no 啦 ，this server push low 啦，老死。No. I hate networking. Fuck. I tell my boss I don't do networking already.
你的 site 都没有 internet， 你不做 networking 谁做 networking？
I want to tell my boss. Hire team.
你 quit 了不是？ This is the best time to hire.
还没 quit， 我要 quit。
Hire intern.
No, my boss don't want to find intern. 因为怕那个 intern 来了学不到东西。
学不到，
那学不到，你那边全部都是。
Yeah, I give you shit, you will learn 2 years worth of shit in 3 months.
Because right now there's this mid-career pathway. So the company can work with SBM to get people in. And then they're not students, they are people who want to change jobs.
Mid-career switch.
Then you can hold on for 1 year or 2 years. Then the government will pay certain percentage of the
SBF.
Oh yeah, I think I remember before. Yeah, the pay percentage of salary. I remember.
Next week I'm going to talk to my boss already.
Yeah,
there's a seminar coming up.
加钱啊！
加钱。
你要跟他讲你要走啊，人家加钱给你。
没有，我就跟他讲我会走，我就很懒惰。
So what they do is they pair up companies with all these mid-career professionals. Then in the same seminar. Then they do a pair up. Then after that they have interviews. Then once confirmed, then they will go through the paperwork. Then what's going to happen is they will, depending on how much company is going to pay. I think 80% or 70% of the salary.
Oh yeah, correct. I heard of this government paying the percentage salary thing.
So the risk is still on the employer that potentially this person may leave after 1 year or 2 years. But at least minimally within the next 2 years, right? The salary
subsidized salary.
Cheaper lah.
But you have to hold him for 2 years lah. Lang one lah.
Lang.
Yeah, there's
And
something.
you also lang must go.
Then at the end of the whole thingy, right, the whole period, then there's some submit report and all sorts of stuff. You have to say whether this person has grown, whether this person has benefited, and then are you going to hold on to this person? Some shit.
放那个人家麻烦噻。
Paperwork is cumbersome.
No, but it's win-win for both the employer and the employee. Yeah, and then the employee will take money.
Significant, a lot of money.
我要跟我老板谈about 你的东西啊，真的是我没赛了，我跟他 infrastructure。我不想做 infra 了 ，infra sucks.
That's his end goal.
So bad.
He want to get him to go in to do all his networking
Then
things.
you go to his company.
No. Then I stay in my company, but I change position. 我不想做啊，我老是 stupid 的。
Exactly. 你的可以玩 game 算不错啊。
没有，不要跟我跟白痴人讲话，我想打人家，真的。
你不是跟 user 讲话，就是跟 vendor 讲话了吗？我别的。
The only problem is you don't have allies.
Huh?
You don't have allies.
Allies.
When you don't have allies with company, you feel you're very low. And then anything you have to settle. Once you have allies, right, then you have peers.
你们帮你对不对？Go, I now discussing with team 哦，team 我白我好像有问题耶。
Free consultancy service.
我进到 bio 小我进得到 bio 小，apparently 他的 bio 什么啊？那个 wait on land 的我做不到，因为我没有多一个东西 to send 那个 magic packet to 那一台。
刚刚在玩去哪？
如果是有的话
麻烦了。
UEFI.
So let's say goodbye.
哎呀，收钱一点，拜拜。
这东东叫嘞比 back together 嘞。
Today, next week, cannot. Next week a lot.
So never mind, today I don't leave early. I want to try already.
What I'm afraid is people procrastinate. Once they procrastinate,
What's procrastinate?
就是来一直讲 tomorrow do， 那明天没有做这样。
The test for the percentage.
don't have. May not have. The completion rate, I mean. May not have. We see how it goes.
What the fuck am I supposed to do on Artu?
But just assume no percentage.
So you don't go together.
What?
交 together 嘛 then we can bike together 嘛。
Bike you want?